Happy Halloween and welcome to the Halloween episode of Domestic Rockstar. Today we are going to discuss Metalsplotation / rock and roll horror movies, and we're going to review 3 of them for you. Beware, there are spoilers. What is Metalsplotation? Well, I didn't know about it until a few days ago when I started doing some research to put together a really great Halloween episode for you all. Now, in my research, I discovered that there was a whole genre, well, not really whole, because it's quite minuscule, but a genre, nonetheless, of horror movies that feature rock and roll bands or metal bands or have effect of music, harder music, to be precise. Now, in my discovery of this genre, I found about 24 titles that have been released since 1980 that would fall in it. So let's talk about some of these movies that fall into this genre. Now, of the 22 that were released from 1980 to 1991, the number 1 was Terror on Tour, which came out in 1980, which I could not get my hands on. I tried to find it on Amazon Prime, on Netflix. I tried to buy it on DVD. The only copy that I could find was on VHS, and it was like 180 bucks on eBay. But I'm good. I don't need to spend that much money on a movie that had horrible reviews from what I could tell. Also, there is Trick or Treat, which came out in 1986, and a lot of my friends recommended that. Thanks, friends, but because there was like 10 people that recommended it, I decided to go with a little bit more obscure for our reviews. It looks like 88 was like a pretty good year for Metalsplotation films, because you got Slaughterhouse Rock, Hack-O-Lantern, Hard Rock Zombies, Lone Wolf, Black Roses, Hard Rock Nightmare, that all came out that year. But today we're going to feature 3 reviews of some movies that I did get my hands on for this show. And they're a little bit more obscure, but they are available on Amazon Prime or Netflix for your viewing pleasure. However, I did watch them, so you don't have to if you don't want to. One of them gets 5 stars, but the other 2, not so much. So let's go into the first movie that I discovered. It's called Heavy Metal Horror, and I found this on Amazon Prime, and it seemed pretty cool. The reviews of it weren't that great. I think it had like 3 stars or 2.5 stars, but I was holding out hope for something called Heavy Metal Horror to actually fall into the Metalsplotation hard rock horror film genre to be pretty good. So the synopsis was a prostitute runs into some kind of horror situation with a metal band. So seems pretty cool. Like, there's so much possibility there, but not the case at all. So this was shot kind of like a reality show, like a mockumentary. First off, it's shot like you would think Blair Witch when you first start seeing it, or like that it was a real situation, but then it starts getting kind of cheesy. It's pretty slow. I mean, it took like 17 minutes before they even mentioned any type of like horror situation that could have possibly happened. Basically, the prostitute is being interviewed by a film crew, and she's talking about all this random crap that has happened to her. It takes forever for her to even like come out with the fact that she is a prostitute. And while they're interviewing her, they keep showing clips of this band that is getting together and practicing, and they're kind of like a melodic metal band per se. They seem pretty young. They seem like they're in their early 20s. They practice. They are trying to get ready for a show that they're gonna play. They're very obviously Canadian by the way that they're talking, which seemed pretty cool until, like, I don't know, it just got super lame. So I pretty much only lasted about 32 minutes in this before I turned it off because it was so lame. I couldn't take it. The second movie that I got, I was really hopeful for because it was released by Troma. And if anyone is a horror movie or campy movie fan, then you'll know that Troma released Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and The Toxic Avenger, which have become cult classics. If you haven't seen them, please go see them. I promise the hilarity and the campiness will not disappoint. This one was called Extreme Jukebox, and it was released in 2013. It's Italian. Lots of subtitles, and the subtitles take away from the campiness. I really feel like because I was hoping for the campiness of Trauma and I had to read subtitles to try to figure out what was going on the whole time because it wasn't very obvious, it just took away from it. The opening scene was pretty on par with 80s horror movies, even though this is a newer film. Basically, the chick is she's running and she goes back into the locker room, gets undressed, takes a shower. You have the gratuitous nudity as needed, and then as she's leaving in her wonderful little schoolgirl outfit, she has a sense of something following her. She looks behind her and there's this dude dressed up like a metal clown. He starts chasing her, but he's not really chasing her because he's kind of just walking really fast in these huge metal boots with like spikes on them. And then she, of course, trips and falls like most chicks do in horror movies. The best line in the movie was he gets his hands on her and says, "So, I heard you like to sing. Let's do some karaoke." And then kills her with a microphone down her throat. And it's pretty hardcore. But I think there was a cord attached to it. But where the hell is the cord gonna come from unless he's like holding onto it? I don't know, it was weird. But the metal clown kills the chick in the beginning. And that's the best part of the movie. And then later, it follows these guys that are in a band, like this rock singer, like wannabe frontman is like super popular, and at the beginning it was hard to follow what was really happening. And then he is talking to this one dude and he basically tells him like the worst thing you could do is not die before you're 30, because then you'll leave a legacy. Like if you die before you're 30, you'll be a real rock star. And that was pretty much the best like 5 minutes that I could get out of it, but it wasn't good either, like really bad, and I didn't like it at all. Shame on you, Trauma, for not giving me the campiness that I needed. So the third movie that I watched was Deathgasm, and I got lots of recommendations for this. Well, actually I got like 2 recommendations. I was surprised that not more people spoke up about this movie. I had seen it in the queue before on Netflix and I thought, oh, this is probably gonna be something really cheesy, or it's like a weird Swedish metal documentary, but it wasn't. It's actually a really great horror movie that came out of New Zealand, and I loved it. I would describe Deathgasm as Evil Dead meets Detroit Rock City meets This Is the End. It's pretty awesome. The group of actors that they have in it are hilarious. The main character is really great, really skinny, like total death metal, I don't know, stereotype. I would think most of the guys that I went to high school with that were like death metal look pretty much like him, but this is again based in New Zealand, so it was pretty cool. There's like this scene where they film a music video out in like the woods and they're trying to be like super death metal. They've got the corpse paint on, and the drummer they have done up like Peter Criss from Kiss, and you can tell that he is not thrilled about it, but it's pretty funny. And the song is called Intestinal Bungee Jump, which seems pretty cool. But the background music was awesome. There was a lot of Trivium posters and some pretty cool stuff going on in the background. But there was this meme that I had seen a while ago of this like death metal dude sitting next to like a cheerleader looking blonde chick eating ice cream on a bench, and that is in this movie. That's where that meme came from, the whole scene. So the chick totally digs the heavy metal dude, and she's actually like kind of dating his cousin, who's a total douchebag to him and bullies him, but he ends up like getting on her good side, and they hang out, and then they eat ice cream together while he's in full corpse paint and she's looking all like preppy, and it's pretty cool, like opposites attract type of situation. So there's this part where one of the guys in the band's dad gets possessed and they're fighting him, and they have to drop this engine on his head, and the dude is just like, oh man, I think he totally would have dug that he got to go down doing what he loved, and yeah, like for whom the bell tolls, man. And it was pretty funny. The character, there's like 2 guitar players, one is kind of the singer, and the other one, I don't know if he plays guitar or bass. I didn't really pay attention to what he was playing. The singer guy, that's kind of a douchebag to his friend, but it's funny because inner band drama totally happens. Singer, frontman, douchebag wants to steal guitar player's girlfriend and has this whole bad situation that happens, but and he ends up being an asshole, but turns around in the end. I want to give some spoilers, but not a lot. But one great thing is that this movie came out last year. It came out in 2015. So Metalsplotation / rock and roll horror movies are not dead. We can revive this genre of movie if we can get some good movies out there. Because it seems like a bunch of the ones from the 80s were pretty cheesy and not that great. And then the recent one, the heavy metal horror one, was horrible. And then the trauma one, the Extreme Jukebox, was pretty bad. So if we could get some really good directors to put together some awesome, or even screenwriters work together, put together some awesome heavy metal / Metalsploitation horror movies, that would be great. Some other movies that I would recommend for those of you who want to get into this genre that were recommended to me is Shocker, which came out in the 80s. I remember watching that when I was younger, and I totally forgot that it had some awesome bands in it. And then there's Strangeland, which had Dee Snider in it, and I remember watching that too when it came out, but I couldn't get my hands on those for this review. If you like these types of movies, give me some recommendations of some other ones that I can check out, and I will get back to you guys on what I think on them. Thank you so much for watching. If you dug the episode, then like it and subscribe for more Domestic Rockstar. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great Halloween, and I will be sharing some more Halloween themed episodes in the coming weeks. Thanks.